1945, the city of Hiroshima was destroyed in about 9 seconds by a single atomic bomb.
It's been 80 years since the bomb that changed everything.
Bombers of the 8th United States Air Force, taking off on air drones in England, continue their round-the-clock devastation.
And yet, only a handful of countries have nuclear power. So why is that? Look at this chart. This chart doesn't show numbers, it shows who has the power. So here's what I'm curious about. How did these countries end up with nukes in the first place? And why didn't the others? And the biggest question is, what happens if everyone joins the club? Let's go back to 1945. America tested its first atomic bomb in the deserts of New Mexico.
It felt like an earthquake. We lived in a good adobe house, and it just said, and he said, my goodness, that's an earthquake, and wonder if it hurt the house. And he got out of bed, and he got up, and he says, I want you to come look. The sun's rising in the wrong direction.
A few weeks later, they dropped it on 2 cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 2 bombs, 2 cities, flattened.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Over 200,000 people died on that day. And the war, it ends. You see, this wasn't just a victory. This was a demonstration, a strong message to the world that we have the bomb and this is what it can do, which starts the nuclear race. The race officially kicked off in 1949 when Soviet tested its first atomic bomb. How? They stole it from the Manhattan Project. Yes, people like Klaus Fuchs and Theodore Hall. They were scientists by the day and spies by the night. The Soviet bomb shook the West, because now it wasn't just who has the bomb, it became who has the bigger bomb. Listen to this.
When we're talking about the arms race, we're talking about essentially an attempt by either the Soviet Union or in particular the United States to gain some sort of military advantage over the other, which would then allow them to then force, in some ways maybe, the other to give up or give way over whatever it is they want. And of course, there's always been an arms race, hasn't it, right from the beginning of time. I mean, we've studied together in the past about the history of warfare, and you can see the arms races there. You know, you've got the crossbow being replaced by the longbow. You've got the different types of bayonets evolving as time goes on. So in that sense, this is nothing new. But what's new here is that we have a completely brand new weapon developed, which of course is the nuclear weapon. Okay, not a conventional weapon at all, whereby one bomb has a unique, unprecedented amount of power, destructive power, to inflict damage upon the enemy.
After US and the Soviets, other powers wanted in. Britain joined the club in 1952 because they helped to build the Manhattan Project. France joined in 1960, and their reason is, we are France and we don't take orders. China wanted respect, and nukes got them a seat at the big table. Okay, let me ask you this. Was any of this still about science? Well, I don't think so, because when you zoom out and look at this chart, you understand the numbers. At one time, it was about 60,000 warheads. Let me repeat this. 60,000. Enough to blow up the planet. Not once, not twice, multiple times. So the leaders of the world started to worry and brought a treaty, a global agreement designed to slow down this madness. They called it the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, aka NPT.
The NPT is central to the President's nuclear agenda and to global efforts to achieve the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons. The NPT has been one of the most successful nuclear treaties in history. If it didn't exist, the world would desperately need it.
So what is NPT really? Let's understand it. The NPT is built on three key pillars: non-proliferation, disarmament, and peaceful use of nuclear energy. Let's break it down. The first pillar says, if you have nuclear weapons, you cannot give them to anyone else. So no selling, no sharing, and no helping. Period. If you don't have nukes, you're not allowed to build or acquire them. Not from friends, not through backdoors, not even through peaceful projects. So basically it says, if I have a bomb, I keep it. If you don't get one. The second pillar says every nuclear country agree to gradually reduce their arsenal. That's the catch. It's work in progress. Turns out giving up your nukes is harder than giving up coffee. The third pillar says peaceful use of nuclear energy. The treaty says yes to develop nuclear tech for things like power plants, medical treatments, etc. as long as it is monitored by IAEA, that is International Atomic Energy Agency. They are like nuclear watchdogs. They inspect, monitor, and verify around. This raises the question, what if someone violates the treaty? Let's say they secretly builds a bomb. What then? The NPT isn't backed by an army, but there are consequences. When a country violates the treaty, the IAEA reports it. Then case goes to the UN Security Council. At that point, we are talking about sanctions, diplomatic isolation, economic pressure, even the threat of military intervention, depending on how far they go. But does it always work? Not really. Look at North Korea. They signed the treaty, then in 2003 they just left, built their own nukes, and now they are fully nuclear with no plans to slow down. Listen to this.
This is a critical moment for the NPT. It's a challenging one too, because different parts of this regime are under challenge. And of course we see that particularly in the area of non-proliferation, when we have challenges being posed by Iran, by North Korea, and now in different ways by Russia. So the next 30 days, the work that's being done here by countries around the world to reaffirm the Non-Proliferation Treaty, to strengthen it, to strengthen each one of its pillars, disarmament, non-proliferation, peaceful use, is more vital than it's ever been.
But the real question is, how long can it hold? What if every country in the world got nuclear weapons? Every border dispute, every rogue leader, every unstable government now armed with a red button. One miscommunication, we are talking about a global annihilation. So the NPT isn't perfect, but it says let's not destroy ourselves today. To understand it better, I've linked some documents in the description, and if you find this information valuable, please give a like and subscribe. Thank you.